Welcome back to Netball SA Stadium for the all-important clash between the Adelaide Thunderbirds and the West Coast Fever. Joining me in commentary, Madison Brown. Maddie, let's have a little reminder of those team cards and how these lines will start, because it's a little interesting tonight.
It is. I mean, Thunderbirds go back to what they're probably known for. It's Pogita, Horges, McDonald and Nankivell and Petty, Garrett and Sterling in that starting seven. But Fever is where it does get interesting, as you mentioned. Emma Koch getting that start at goal attack and Alice Teague Neal being forced out onto the wing. How is it going to unfold? Obviously, they back this lineup. They've probably been training in it all week. There were some star-studded players in this Fever lineup that were very quiet, low numbers. So I expect them to want to come out and have a really big one this game.
Well, I guess the beauty is with the rolling substitutions, if it's not working, you can make a change. Clearly, Glasgow and Anstis may be feeling the after effects of COVID because they haven't been named in that starting seven where we do see them most weeks. Just getting ready now to call the teams onto the court. It is a big game for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. The last thing they're going to want to do is have 5 losses in a row. That's going to make their finals chances pretty hard to get to.
It is, and the ladder is getting very close, so you want to stay within touch of those top teams. Fever obviously want to get themselves right at the top and solidify it. T-Birds need to really stay in the mix and get a win tonight.
Well, there's one of the superstars on screen we spoke a lot about in the pre-match, Danielle Fowler. And she's going to have her hands full with that lady running out there, Shamira Sterling. The two Jamaican internationals, teammates tonight against each other. And don't they bring the spice to the game? Brilliant in the air. Lenise Potgieter, she's back from that knee injury, and they desperately need her as that focal point down that shooting end. Well, moments away from the start here, and it'll be Verity Simmons for the West Coast Fever that gets us underway. And Teague Neal, Koch. Teague Neal again. Well, Koch straight into it, and that's where she's probably going to take a lot of ball. What a way to start, Maddie Brown.
Way to silence the commentators with that first score straight on the board.
Yeah, nothing better. We wondered what kind of role she would play at goal attack, whether it would be more of a feeding one or not. Well, she's answered us pretty quickly. And down the other end, that's that beautiful connection between Georgie Horges and Potgieter. Koch. Frances Bayman all the way back to Bruce. Nothing coming forward here for the West Coast Fever. Ariung, ball in hand. Teague Neal. Koch again, direct. Well, still can't penetrate really here, can they? The West Coast Fever, brilliant defensive pressure coming from the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Horges, over the top. Potgieter out of the circle, Nankivell.
Both teams coming out firing already, really trying to set their intent. The physicality, it's a little bit argy-bargy on the bodies. They're moving around, but both teams look like they're here with purpose tonight, which is exciting to see.
Teague Neal, Koch. Well, again, Fowler wanted it, but beautiful timing just to drop back into the circle there from Garrett. The double team happening on Fowler, and that'll happen unless Koch gets herself in. Well, again, she's going to be taking these shots long most of the night unless that pass-off comes. Goal for goal at the moment. Garrett. Nankivell. Looks long to Potgieter, not there. Well, a little tip coming from Teague Neal, as you mentioned in the opener, Maddie, was in that Nissan Net Points team of the week last week. Teague Neal again, Koch. Wants to go long, but ended up forcing it. Good front position, Shamira Sterling. more action than she had in the first 3 quarters of the game last week, Maddie.
Oh, and she's so crucial to this team's success. When she gets her hands on the ball early, it's like that vibe indicator. It just ripples through the entire team. They need to treasure this game possession, though. It's really hard to get those off Fever. So great to see in that replay. But getting back, getting up elevated, and hopefully they can make this count on the scoreboard.
Yeah, always been an issue for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, hasn't it? Converting those gains. Nice and slow, though. Patient on the build-up. Georgie Horgis. Oh, she held it for a long time. Brilliant double defence coming from Ariang and Bruce. So held ball against Georgie Horgis. Simmons is dangerous when she gets to the edge of the circle. Again, Kosh is going to have to shoot it out, and it's another held ball.
Umpires are hot on that call already tonight. Both goal attacks being pinged for it. It's sometimes just the composure you have on your face when you got the ball in hand. If you look calm and you look composed, sometimes they won't call it.
You can hold it for 5 seconds.
You could hold it for 5. Great long ball in there.
Great vision. Yeah, absolutely. And Potgieter likes it. She gave the big thumbs up. Well, Hannah Petty thought she'd done enough to win ball back there. And here's the Harvey Norman replay. Eyes straight to the circle. The captain not stuffing around for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Ariang.
Fever looking like they're struggling to get over that second transverse line, but they're patient with the ball. They're working the different channels. They're working back. They're working those front. Shamira Sterling, she is here to play.
Well, Fowler, you don't often see a miss smack bang under the post from her either. Oh, the teammate in her head early, maybe. Yeah, look at Verity Simmons. Get back, get back. You don't have to be so long. Kosh doesn't care, though. Well, she's brought the accuracy from distance, and it looks like she's going to have to. Again, the vision is long over the mess from the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Horgis. Double play with Nankivell.
It's a really great option by the Thunderbirds. The defenders are sitting like split circle, having a look for that hunt. If they can get along and down really quick, they'll expose them every single time. Eyes not up, straight into the goalers. That's exactly what you want to see.
Well, let's not forget Caitlin Bassett is on the sidelines for us tonight. Caitlin, a couple of held balls early. What'd you make of those?
Yeah, look, these attackers really can't be afforded to faking. The timing of the defender's jump, incredible so far from Bruce and Ariang, as well as from Sterling and Garrett in both ends. So I think best practice, get that ball, turn quicker, and sight your other shooter if you want to pass off.
Yeah, Georgie Horgis looks like she's learned her lesson. The last 2, she's turned it back to self straight away. 3 from 3 now for Georgie Horgis. Potgieter out of the circle. Not prepared to stay in and be that one-on-one with Courtney Bruce. She's been out of the circle a lot in this first quarter, Maddie.
It's quite an interesting strategy because I think she wants to try and obviously keep Bruce accountable, but in her coming out, Courtney's looking a little bit too much and Horgis is exposing that baseline. So expect Horgis to get in nice and quick, and hopefully they can get that ball under the post a lot quicker.
Again, Shamira Sterling really on top of Fowler then. She didn't want to shoot the balls, passing it around a lot more than we'd normally see from her. Now in the money spot, gets it back to 1. Nankivell, Horgis. Nankivell again, undefended, Potgieter. McDonald, a little tip coming from Courtney Bruce. Smart work, Potgieter giving that penalty off to Georgie Horgis, who's good from distance. Well, Adelaide Thunderbirds 2 up at the moment. There's your penalties, the West Coast Fever. So we spoke about the Adelaide Thunderbirds being costly last week. 11 penalties already.
It is. The whole point of the game is to build that pressure and put the attackers under the pump with the ball in hand. So you want to stay in play to really create that pressure, as I mentioned, to make them make those turnovers. If you're not in the play, they're going to move the ball down way too quickly.
Well, which is what we're seeing, aren't we? And there again is that beautiful vision And again, it was the split circle coming from the West Coast Fever, so they may have to change that. Can't be beaten with the ball going straight through the middle time and time again. Simmons, long. Well, it's an offensive contact call against Janelle Fowler. So in the scheme of things, let's have a look on the Harvey Norman replay.
It's exactly like Sam Paul mentioned the other night. You're in front, you've got to have a contest. I think it was a bit of a 50-50 ball, but you've got to take those games when you get it.
Certainly didn't see a contact in there. But anyway, umpires setting the standard early and the players just have to adjust to it, plain and simple. Fowler gets them back to 1.
Both teams on the centre pass are working on a wall, trying to make it really hard to penetrate over that line. They're actually drawing both attackers over. So it's quite interesting to see how that pressure is coming right on from the first pass to try and throw each attack end off.
Well, we'll put that down as a pass to Georgie Horges. I think it was an air ball. Nonetheless, the West Coast Fever and the opportunity here to even the score. A minute and a half away from the Power 5. That is a good play from the West Coast Fever. Swung it and then opened up Fowler. Centre pass to follow too, so the West Coast Fever could take the lead here. Teague Neal waiting for someone. Here comes Simmons. Kosh, the beautiful drive across the front of the circle.
Great footwork there by Shamira Sterling to try and get around and put that pressure on. But Fowler looks strong and dominant already.
Yeah, Janelle Fowler, 7 from 8 early in this first quarter. Long again. Courtney Bruce has had her head down way too much in this opening quarter. That's 3 that have gone straight past her shoulder and they've been flat.
Adelaide Thunderbirds playing that really good game plan of keeping it low, out of the air, and letting the ball do the talking and getting it there a lot quicker than letting it elevate in the air.
Teague Neal direct to Janelle Fowler, who's the one outside the circle. Here comes Kosh. Again. Well, she's been good from here, and she continues to be good from here. Well, we hear Chelsea Pittman say at the start of this game she's been rewarded with the start because she's been training the house down and looks exactly like that. Blink of an eye, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, though, level it again, and you just heard the siren for the start of the Power 5. So the Suncorp Super Shot is now worth 2 from anywhere inside the wide arc, inside the circle. Teague Neal, Kosh, the little double play. Plenty of space to do it too. Smart work between the attackers for the West Coast Fever.
And if those Thunderbirds are going back on that double defence, it is the work of the wing attack and goal attack at the front, just double playing it. A little bit of miscommunication there between Petty and Nankerville.
Yeah, West Coast Fever want to get on with it too. Contact penalties come on McDonald. Ariang, Frances Bayman, long to Kosh. Well, let's look for it again. Kosh, no one on her. She want to get inside the circle. Well, the Adelaide Thunderbirds are defending this beautifully. The issue is Emma Kosh doesn't care where she shoots them from at this point.
No, I'd love to see a little bit more pressure on as she starts to enter that goal circle. So man her up a little bit earlier. Here you can see Matilda Garrett hanging out a little bit higher now, catching her as she draws all the way in.
Oh, that is a big hit, Hannah Penny! And it goes against Teague Neal. Well, looking forward to seeing a Harvey Norman replay on that one. What a contest. The Adelaide Thunderbirds captain, Nankerville. Not enough on the pass, had to get there quickly to Potgieter.
It's about the only high ball they've put in, and there you go, they get a tip to it. They've got to stay disciplined to that low, short, sharp game plan.
Let's have a look at the Harvey Norman replay here, and yeah, well, she did. Hannah Petty got her hands in front, 2 onto the ball strongly. What an intercept. Ariang. Frances Bayman wasn't pretty, but it got there. Teague Neal, Simmons, long to Fowler. Well, Simmons a bit too explosive for her own good onto the circle.
She threw it before she'd even caught it.
What do you make of Shamira Sterling? She's starting behind Fowler, so Fowler's having to take quite a lot of higher ball when you know she's not going to shoot from there.
She's sitting off. She wants to try and make the feeder think that that space is there, and then back in her footwork to come in and around and try and get to some of those high balls. What we know Shamira Sterling's good at is sometimes coming from behind, not always from the front ball. We can also see LaTanya Wilson come into the game here, so expect to get some little extra tips on the ball. That's what she's there for the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Well, there's plenty of athleticism in this circle now. 3 of the Jamaican superstars. As Janelle Fowler adds another one to the scoreboard. 9 from 10, 90%. No issues with what she's delivering as we expect again. Whoa! Surely Dan Ryan is screaming at Courtney Bruce at this point in the game. That is a lucky win back. Absolutely being schooled on that long ball and that vision. There is the head coach of the West Coast Fever, Dan Ryan. Gosh, well, again, had to force it. Not much ball side for her, Maddie.
No. I mean, everyone was behind their player. She just put it up into the air. Obviously got a nice call there on Fowler.
West Coast Fever out by 5. A minute to go. There's your shooting stats. Emma Kosh having a cracking first quarter. 100% shooting, including that super shot. There she is, ball in hand. Oh, that's a big win for Shamira Sterling. She was kept very quiet in round 6.
It was that confusion she put into the feeder's head, and it wasn't put into the space. It was up in the air. Anyone's game, and as I said, she attacked from behind. That's where she's sometimes most dominant.
McDonald back to Petty. Nankiville. Long again. Potgieter. Well, she's having a field day at the moment, Lenise Potgieter. Twice in the circle, though, and hasn't looked to post. She will on the third. What has Courtney Bruce got to do here? It's just all too easy at the moment.
Well, it's interesting that she is still sitting out. I think because it is in the power time, she's thinking, all right, we'll just let the one-pointers go. But the ball speed from Thunderbirds is just making their heads turn. And just like that, it's too easy. And giving an attack end confidence is definitely not what you want to give. She needs to get a little bit tighter, protect that post. Make Lenise actually work a little bit harder for her.
Well, it's the West Coast Fever up by 3 as we head into the quarter-time break. And there she is, the player we were just talking about. And oh, it's a replay ball. LaTanya Wilson did everything but catch it. Frances Bayman, Ariane, Tegnield, Simmons, waiting for Kosh. Here she comes, and she's been dangerous from this exact area. That's her first miss, and a big rebound to Shamira Sterling.
With the goal attack. Advantage really, goal attack. Advantage center contact.
This is where Hannah Petty on centre circle during the week spoke about when they get their gains, they need to treasure possession. They've been quite costly, the Thunderbirds, in most games, and it's these little minor hiccups, if they don't reward the defenders with these gains, that when it comes down to the crunch, it can be the difference between them winning and losing.
Well, that certainly helps, doesn't it? That will please Tanya Robbs no end. Georgie Horges nailing a mid-range shot there. And some good shooting for the Adelaide Thunderbirds as well. Just the one miss. Potgieter, 8 from 8. Been a big week for her, and she's responding beautifully. Well, I just jinxed her. Sorry, Lenise. Put out of court. So, West Coast Fever here. Long ball, Courtney Bruce winds up that shoulder better than anyone in the game.
I am quite impressed with the Thunderbirds' defence. They're making Fever have to work a lot of more passes as LaTanya Wilson in front. Not high enough, that feed. Needs to be a little bit up in the air.
It's always going to be tough anyway when she's double defended. Probably needs a feeder behind her so she can do a double play herself just to get a bit closer. Tough one to get through. Let's get down to Caitlin Bassett.
Yeah, I had to listen into the Thunderbirds huddle at quarter time, and Lani's got out the old pen and paper and was just drawing for her mid-court about a little move that was catching Courtney Bruce with her eyes down, and she actually did it the first play of that quarter, so let's see if she does it again. Basically, she's creating space behind Courtney, and she knows that her eyes are down, and she wants that ball over the top.
Yeah, we certainly saw that happening in that first quarter, didn't we? Really exploiting that passing. And you're right, it's two-part. The shooter's got to get free, but the centre court's got to be brave enough to let it go when they see it. And again, they need more air on them, those passes, don't they, Maddie?
They do. I mean, the 101 go-to of feeding is, you know, opposite where the defender is. They're just not giving it enough space. Fowler is really strong on a hold, so if you put it a little bit further out, then she can lunge or jump onto it, and Sterling won't even be in the contest.
Gosh, well, here's the one we were talking about just previously. And then the quick release, not a high pass either. So not what they were expecting. The West Coast Fever now up by 4. Horges, good take. Nankiville, Potgieter. Looking for someone. Well, Nankiville did well, but so did Verity Simmons in the chase. Taken, stays Frances Bayman. Well, much smoother play up the court for the West Coast Fever then. And Tanya Obbs knows it. She's called an HCF timeout. What do you think she'll want to say here, Maddie?
Well, I think that ball was coming down a little bit too fast, so she needs those defenders to slow it up in attack. They need to have those multiple options. They're starting to be a little bit more stagnant, not supplying those multiple options to go to.
Well, let's get down and have a little listen now.
Backup is good. We've got to remember to chase up those loose balls, all right? And think about now there's a flyer. Frances is flying everywhere, so we need to sight her. And then whoever is, she's got to be a free person, all right? Let's try Laddie, and on this transfers, when we go back, that we've got someone on the inside, so that when we're here, we've got someone coming to the ball and not a Fever player in between, yeah? All right? Okay.
To create that cross court.
Yeah, right. Let's
Have a look at it.
regroup.
Just execution, not those
Sight
skills.
Let's go. Let's chase them after every loose ball. Let's go, guys. Let's dig in. T-Birds on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, you heard it there from Tanya Opp. She just wanted to point out the flyer that is Frances Bayman. She's had a crack at everything, and there's been a change in the attack line. You can see Lenise Potgieter on the sideline there, which means Tipper Dwan is now on at goal shooter with Georgie Horges. So a far shorter, far more mobile attack line.
I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing lots of ball speed happening down that attack end, getting Courtney Bruce's head turning. That really strong, dominant baseline move, I think, will come into play now.
Little miscommunication about where the penalties should be taken. Simmons wants someone to come forward. Well, again, just some silly penalties creeping in here. Simmons, though, throws and goes straight onto it. Kosh, she's been in this position a lot. Fowler not really much closer. Well, she is by the time she does the big step.
Yeah, right underneath.
Horges, beautiful vision, long and direct down to McDonald. Yeah, keep an eye on the movement now that we're going to see in this circle. Well, hold on for that to happen, because the West Coast Fever have just turned it over again. Kosh, Fowler. This gives them a very handy buffer of 7, and didn't that happen quickly?
It did, and it came down to the defence of the Fever. They've been the ones that have created these 4 goals in a row. And you can see the ball moving with a lot more confidence in that Fever attack end.
There's the goals from turnovers too, so the West Coast Fever sitting pretty, and still the issue for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, just one. Good pass from Horges, quick release. Well, the issue now is, though, they don't have that focal point, so there's a lot of movement going on here.
And you can see the Fever box. They're shutting down that top. They're making them have to go back. And then they're pushing them nice and wide and making them have to earn every single pass down here.
Well, talk about earning it. It's taken a long time to get to this point, hasn't it, for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, and still not wanting to shoot it. Still working it around.
I'd love to see Nankerville and McDonald just give those goalers a split second more because they're becoming available. They're just looking away too early.
Courtney Bruce out for the fly, but can't keep it in the court. Horges, Nankerville. Again to Horges. Well, Georgie Horges has got to get in. Others, the two defenders for the West Coast Fever aren't going to split. Just not working for them at the moment. I'd love to see them work in and off each other, the two goalers inside the circle, instead of just going to plonk.
They've got to get those triangles happening outside the circle and inside the circle.
Well, down the other end, it's all too easy, isn't it? There's plenty of ball speed going on and plenty of beautiful triangles that you just referred to. The swing to the top of the circle opens up Janelle Fowler. And they take it out to 7.
And when the ball's moving at that pace, it's so hard for the defenders to side it and even have time to have a crack at it.
Well, again, they're just finding that feed now to Fowler so much easier, and it's not always high. The last couple have been flat. They've just read it beautifully. And she's starting to rack the numbers up. 18 from 19, 95% Fowler. Tipper Dwan. Well, she's been good in terms of that accuracy. Sunk the first couple with ease. Simmons, Teague Neal. Kosh. Straight into Fowler. Oh, she's stepping in every time. The defence from Sterling not putting her off the shot at all. McDonald. Horges. Nankerville fighting for front space, but it goes to McDonald. Beautiful move. Tipper Dwan, a little bit of a roll and a screen. Opens herself up under the post.
Thunderbirds did well to get themselves out of that nice kind of herded position. They were nice. They were a bit too tight and close, but they worked that roll off really well.
Well, Shamira Sterling has gone missing, fair to say, in the last couple of plays. Looks a little disinterested too at the moment, doesn't she? We know she's a cool customer, but she's got to find a way to start having some impact like she did early in that first quarter. Petty, Horges, Nankerville, Horges again. All of the shots they're taking at the moment from distance, Maddie.
All of the Adelaide Thunderbirds look a little bit lost and isolated at the moment. They need to start to connect in their little duos or connections on court to just bring themselves back together. Take a deep breath. Hopefully Georgie Horges can score this one for them. Yes, get those high fives. Start to connect with someone beside you because they're playing quite isolated at the moment.
And that isolated is not energy efficient either, is it? Because you're doing a lot more running. And someone who's not doing much running at all at the moment is Janelle Fowler. She has been served this ball on a silver platter.
That pressure out the front from Thunderbirds has to come so that it can at least give their defenders a chance at getting some game ball here.
Well, I was just thinking, I wonder what Sam Pullman will be thinking. She did the whole analysis on how to defend Janelle Fowler on centre circle the other night. There was at least 4 or 5 options, so I think the Thunderbirds need to have a look at some of those other ones. Nankerville, Horges. Yes, Frances Bateman trying to be a little bit cheeky there and squish her way through. There she is, Shamira Sterling, just fixing the long locks. Down the other end though, Horges drains it. 30 seconds from the power 5. Adelaide Thunderbirds are going to find themselves in a position they're going to have to start shooting some of them.
Lucky with that. Oh, nearly got it. Kosh was lucky with maybe a little footwork call there.
I thought the same thing. Well, she's warming up. Still 12 seconds away from that being worth 2 points. And Wilson. McDonald back to Petty, and Frances Bayman, hasn't she had some impact since she's entered the game? Long to Kosh, no stopping the West Coast Fever at the moment.
was a great intercept by Stacey Bayman. She forced to the sideline. She knew it was coming up the centre, got a call from the back, flew from it and got that nice little tip.
Well, it's now out to 9 for the West Coast Fever. They're winning this quarter 11-6. How are the Adelaide Thunderbirds going to respond? Well, Latanya Wilson flying into the circle, trying to have some sort of impact. Whoa, how on earth? That wasn't a replay ball too. Oh, she's got away
with that one.
Couple of sneaky ones she's got away with. But there's the Adelaide Thunderbirds now calling that HCF timeout.
You can see in the Adelaide attack end, now that they've got that shorter shooter, they're all out of the circle and there's just not that target that's demanding that circle space.
When we're going to backdoor, let's coordinate what that looks like, do you know? So you're not ending up with about 4 on you. So get a signal, a state, yes. So 1 in and then you in, yeah? Think about when we do go to the reset and someone punching up, sight the defence, yeah? So, and then Maze, that one there, when you were out here and the ball's there, that's where I reckon you've got to get back into the middle, square it out. Don't sit here sort of on the diagonal. Get up here more on the lateral to either get the lateral ball or to cut back into the middle. All right? Okay. Be mindful of the line you're coming into as well.
Let's go.
Yep, so give them a signal. Do you know? Like, because if you're coming strong, they're going to want to give you the ball. So there should be the overlap pass. All right?
Let's go, guys. When Tipper presents, give Tipper the ball and then we go again. Let's go. Let's go.
Shamira Sterling plenty to say in the huddle there for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. What did you make of the instruction from Tanya Obbs, Maddie?
I think it was a really interesting one because she said she wants that goal shooter or someone to punch up the middle, where I actually think Fever is setting up for that. They want that ball to go up the middle because they want everyone to be forced wide so they can fly for those high ones in the pocket.
And there's no reason a shorter player still can't be the focal point back in the circle, is there? It may not look like a lob, it may now be a dodge on the baseline, but there's no reason that Dwan can't do that role.
No, and it's the give and goes. They're finding a little bit isolated, not a lot of options right now. You've got to give it, you've got to go, either create something for yourself or create something for someone else.
Or just the quick double with McDonald, better build up, nice quick hands. And the drain from Tipper Dwan, and didn't they need that? A Suncorp super shot gets them back to 8. All too easy for the West Coast Fever though. That was about 2 seconds and they were down in their circle. So the defensive pressure has got to step up here for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Well, there's the time to goal. There's the difference, 28 seconds. Felt a lot faster than that. Georgie Horges recognises they need some points on the board here, and she drains another Suncorp super shot. Well, they put themselves under pressure, but they're up for the challenge. 7 the difference, 3 minutes to go in this opening half. Caitlin Bassett recognised something going on with the West Coast Fever.
Yeah, look, defence in the West Coast Fever camp are doing a really good job of shutting down the first fade from the Thunderbirds, which is why they're struggling to penetrate in their attacking end. But all they have to do is a little quick change of direction. They have plenty of options. It's just the timing on changing that line.
Well, again, Frances Bayman is causing all sorts of headaches single-handedly.
It's that sideline pass. When you put it in the air, you not only put the pass under pressure, it has to be spot on, but even the receiver, especially when they've got a Bruce flying at them and a Bayman as well.
Emma Kosh is just playing such a good game in terms of her movement inside the circle. It's pulling the defenders apart. That's opening up Fowler. Doesn't necessarily have to get the ball herself, but she's almost like a sacrificial lamb, isn't she, in the effort that she's got to make.
But because she's shown that she can be a threat on the scoreboard, they're actually thinking maybe we need to defend her.
There she is again, Kosh. Who's she going to go to? The quick one to herself, but again, the movement out draws Sterling, and then it's a one-on-one easy for the West Coast Fever.
That's the mismatch they want to get.
There's the Nissan Net Points top match leaders. And Teague Neal, great to see her sitting up there again, and Fowler. They were the two that were in the team of the week last week. Sterling, as you would expect, Horges and McDonald. So 3 of the Adelaide Thunderbirds, even though they find themselves down, while Sterling, she had a few tips early in the game, but it's been a little bit quiet since. Just reminding everybody she's still here. Dwan. Well, last thing you want to do is give a shooter another shot at a Suncorp super shot. Courtney Bruce, the penalty. Can Dwan sink the second attempt? She can. There's the Harvey Norman replay, and it's the screamer from Sterling. Keeps it in. Frances Bayman. Aria. Frances Bayman again. Through the middle, Teague Neal, and then this is where it gets too easy. Verity Simmons looks undefended.
We can see Adelaide Thunderbirds sitting off into space. I'd love them to go back to that one-on-one intensive pressure that they had on in the first quarter. Fever were really struggling to get it over that transverse line. As you mentioned, their 1-2 passes in, it's way too easy.
Well, 9 the difference, 20 seconds to go. What can the Adelaide Thunderbirds do here? They would love a Suncorp super shot to get them that little bit closer heading into half-time, and it's the hot-handed Dwan. Oh, the miss, and they can't keep it in, so 5 seconds. Probably not enough time for the West Coast Fever. Well, time's called, so still a couple of seconds on the clock. And there it is. So it's the West Coast Fever that will take a 9-goal buffer into half-time. Some changes made here for the West Coast Fever. Interesting, given how good their first quarter was. Sasha Glasgow, as you can see there on screen, in at goal attack, which pushes Teague Neal back to wing attack. So Emma Kosh, after a brilliant first half, is going to have some time on the bench. Oh, Anstis, sorry, also into the mix. Both Anstis and Glasgow missing round 6 out with COVID. So potentially didn't have a full game in them. Garrett back on 2, and we made mention just in the break there, Maddie, we thought she did a better job than Wilson.
Yeah, she had a real shutdown role, and she played that in that first quarter. I think LaTanya Williams, she is that impact player. She comes to bring those tips and get their hands on the ball, but it just gave Fever too much space to work and be creative in.
The other change down that end too is Lenise Potgieter back in at goal shooter. Georgie Horges remains out the front of her. Glasgow. Anstis, Fowler, and again having to take the ball in front. Fowler, 29 from 30, 97% shooting. There's Emma Kosh next to Verity Simmons.
It's a real luxury for any coach to be able to put, you know, starting 7 players to the bench, to have a little bit of a rest.
Well, they've certainly got depth, haven't they? One of the best in the competition, probably with the Melbourne Vixens in my mind, but also Chelsea Pittman.
Yes.
As one of their training partners. Potgieter. Glasgow. Fowler.
See Sterling trying to force Fowler out of that circle and try and keep her there away from the post. Because once she's in, great little tip there by Hannah Paddy. I mentioned her, she needs to get her hand on the ball early.
Well, she heard you and she's responded, but this is the area of concern for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. It's the scoring off those positive gains. Can they do it this time down? McDonald had to go a long way back to Petty. And again, straight over the top. Going in, when Potgieter's on, so easily to her.
She's so, when she's on, she is fire. And at times they haven't let the ball go to her on that high pass, but when they've got the confidence in now, you'd release that from McDonald. She's got that strong hold on Bruce.
And she's telling him where she wants the ball with that hand up too, isn't she, Georgie Horges? Well, she held on to it for a long time. And Anstis, that is why, as a defender, you stay on the edge of the circle, comes up with the rebound. Sterling having another good start to the quarter like she did in the first. Petty. McDonald. Again, the quick ball, it's flat. Well, the crowd don't like it. They didn't want the penalty taken back. They should have allowed it to go straight to post. Potgieter, beautiful timing on the step out. The little dodge to free herself.
And that's what she really provides to the Thunderbirds attack end. She definitely has that high hold, but it's her pop back to come forward that just gets those defenders a little bit flat-footed.
Exceptional timing on the move. Glasgow. Well, again, the tip's coming now. Another one through Garrett, so it's been interrupted up this West Coast Fever attack line. A longer shot there for Fowler, but she doesn't mind. Or just wants to get on with it. Nankiville, the one-on-one.
That little cross-court pass in the second quarter, we saw Bruce flying for them, but with Potgieter on there, she's really making her accountable to the post.
Yeah, she's got that focus. She's got to really give her attention to, doesn't she? And again, just that extra pass when the Adelaide Thunderbirds are patient and play that extra pass, it seems to be opening up nicely for them. Back to 7. Was out to 9 at half-time. Potgieter 12 from 12. All the way back to Courtney Bruce, Frances Bayman.
A zone set up here by the Adelaide Thunderbirds. But a great drive by Alice Teague-Neal to try and break them up through the centre, pull them apart, and finds Fowler under the post.
Nankiville, Horges, Nankiville again. McDonald. Horges, well, it's all too easy, and it's the movement that's causing confusion amongst the West Coast Fever defenders. Glasgow, Anstis, Teague-Neal, Fowler. Longer shot though, still for Janelle Fowler. Two of the coolest customers in the game.
They don't give you much on their face.
Nothing. Much is being generous, I don't give you anything. There's the quarter breakdown. West Coast Fever by the 3, then by the 6. Adelaide Thunderbirds in control of this quarter. Can make it 2 here.
We also heard in one of the huddles the T-Birds talk about using that back door on the centre pass, because the Fever are creating that wall, going back door and then getting over the mess. They're getting a little bit more depth quicker, which is allowing them to get it into the circle sooner.
Caitlin Bassett, you're liking what you're seeing from the midcourt.
I'm loving everything that the Thunderbirds are putting out. They've obviously had a great chat in the change rooms at this halftime break. But we talk about a moving circle, and we saw, you know, the two movers, the two shorter shooters in Dwan and Horges in that circle, but their movement wasn't direct. It was just running for running's sake. Whereas when Lenise comes out of the circle and her movement and the movement that Horges has, it's really direct and it creates space for the players in the circle.
Yeah, absolutely. It did look like it was a very tiring style of play they were playing in that second quarter. Everybody running around with no direction.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say Thunderbirds have only pulled it back by 1. Oh, they have a bit of a contest there. But it seems like momentum is slowly starting to shift towards the Thunderbirds a little bit.
Well, the Harvey Norman replay, and you can see there Nankiville just taking the arm of Frances Bayman. All 3 went down. Glasgow, a couple of little double plays. Who gets the rebound? Well, the contact call against Janelle Fowler, and the crowd love that. Adelaide Thunderbirds need to score here. The Harvey Norman replay, you can see the tussle for the rebound. Well, that there is a coach killer. Another way just to throw away possession for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Glasgow. Well, that should be a lesson to Glasgow. She's done a couple of those and lost possession with the double plays.
You can see Sterling kind of lose sight of her players. So how to crack at the ball. I'd love to see her have a bit more of a fly on some of those feet into the circle rather than getting caught on the body.
Well, you just see her then coming off a little bit more. Sasha Glasgow, though, again, went the quick one too. That was enough to pull the defender off and find Fowler. So smarter approach there, the West Coast Fever. And another HCF timeout here by way of the Adelaide Thunderbirds. That's now their third timeout. They find themselves down by 10. Let's get down and have a listen to the head coach, Tanya Obst.
Coming in on, I don't want Shammy to be pulled out to that one. So you just need to get on the side that she's entering from. Really great lines. Yeah, really good stuff. And then that setup there where we've had that penalty and you were sitting on the lateral and we had that perfect. Yeah, that's some really good work. All right, then we get the 2v1. We've got one out here, they can't defend all of us. All right.
As he has an extra playmaker as well. Yeah, hanging off.
And it's good work with the through court, actually moving onto the ball or into a space to pull it in. Know that Alice's arm is going to hold you, so get it up early to then pull it in. Yeah, yep. And I think let's maybe use you through Sasha through court. Yeah.
Let's go. Great work. What centre pass are we doing?
Let's go, Rab.
Yeah, attitude and effort, bit of pink heart. Let's lift T-Birds on 3, 1, 2, 3, T-Birds!
Oh, Maddie, what'd you pick up there from the head coach?
Well, she said she was really happy with the attack end. They've obviously started to use that ball a little bit shorter. They're working some double plays, those give and goes. They're getting the 2-on-1s, which is what she was really happy about. In defence, they were talking about for Sterling not to fly too far out, and if she does, Garrett needs to get into the circle and protect that post quicker.
McDonald across to Nankivell, good vision, and again just opens up the other side of the circle, and Potgieter looked as though she rushed it a little. That is the first blemish for her, the first miss of the game.
It's critical that they work it to a shot that they know they can be effective and efficient on.
Hannah Petty just taking out the umpire then and apologising in the process. Long to Frances Bayman, Teague Neal, Glasgow, out of the circle, straight in, Fowler, outside. Well, a lot of movement for the West Coast Fever there. Sasha Glasgow, the beautiful finish. That's her first shot, successful shot of the game.
Too easy. Thunderbirds defence are just in chase mode. They're not dictating where they want the Fever attackers to go at all. We also see a change in that goal circle. Dwan coming on to goal shooter. She'll need to run her feet onto the ball or just time that lead out of the circle a little bit better. A bit too early on that one.
I'd love to see one of them just stay in the circle, dominate the circle. Keep the movement up when it gets a bit closer, but not too much running around. Anstis, Glasgow. Oh, the offensive contact again. Janelle Fowler doesn't understand why it's come, looking very puzzled, questioning the umpire. But it is her second one, so whatever she's doing, she's got to fix it.
You see that Adelaide Thunderbirds is looking very crowded here. Sometimes I wish those attackers get down, let Hannah Petty bring it down to you. She's so strong.
Yeah, just forced one past too many there. There was the big long clearance ball that was brilliant. Trying to thread the needle when it wasn't there. Here's the pass. Just nowhere for Georgie Horges to take it.
It was a hands-over pressure by Bruce and also Horges being behind her opponent as well. Let's see some balks. Be a bit more creative with the ball in hand.
West Coast Fever now out by 12. Winning this quarter 10-8 after the Adelaide Thunderbirds started so strongly. And this is not helping their cause whatsoever. Frances Bayman. Aria. Back to Bruce. Anstis. Aria. Teague Neal down in play. Well, Sterling is quite happy for the most part to sit behind Fowler, isn't she? When it gets to this point, though,
in that power 5 time with the super shot up for grabs. It's interesting to see how defenders then change their strategy. You know, let the one go over, shut down the two. The Thunderbirds, you've got your 2 hot shooters on. You need to start sinking some 2-pointers.
well, that's why the rule was designed. Have a look at that last 10. That is horrifying if you're the Adelaide Thunderbirds head coach. Dan Ryan on the other side will be rubbing his hands together with glee. This is another one on the list for them. Tanya Robb's calling for players to come and sit and have a chat with her, so she may be about to make some more changes. But you're right, Maddie, this is where the Adelaide Thunderbirds have got to get themselves in that white arc.
Taylor Williams possibly coming on just to inject a little bit of a spark.
Well, this would inject a spark if she can drop it. Georgie Horges, a Suncorp super shot. Brings that margin a little bit closer. Oh, another opportunity here for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, and I'll tell you what, if they can sink another super shot and get themselves back a little bit closer as they head into this final quarter, that is not the way to do it. Bruce Anstis.
It is minor moments, but they're clutch moments for the Thunderbirds that they just lose focus and go away from what's been working from them, and that is keeping that ball low and short.
And it's probably one person thinking, oh, it's okay, I've only made 1 mistake or 2 mistakes. But if every one of your 7's making 2 mistakes, it all adds up, doesn't it? We can see Dwan trying to get herself into that super shot territory. The miss, though, and no height to collect the rebounds. Talia Williams on in centre. Ariane. Teague Neal. Direct to Fowler. Shamira Sterling had a good challenge from behind.
It's putting so much pressure on Sterling to get those turnovers ball when it's coming so fast down. That pressure not being put on from the goal is from a turnover. She's really under the pump, and she's got no hope to get that ball when it's coming in so quickly.
No, she does have 2 intercepts, well, nearly 3 in this quarter, though. So she's certainly not done with here. Shamira Sterling, well, she's heard us. Heard the call coming. They need some inspiration here. Have a look at the Harvey Norman replay. That's the first challenge, and then took one not long after. But they need to score here. A good game from the 2 Adelaide Thunderbirds defenders, Sterling in particular with 5 intercepts, 6 gains. More patient approach here. They've only got 37 seconds though, so they don't want to stuff around with it too much here, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Got a fall for Tipper Dwan, and it does. Centre pass to follow, 20 seconds. They need to get the ball back to Taylor Williams quickly. Plenty of time to score here if they can go direct. The umpire calls time, so 9 seconds, time enough. Got to be inside the circle though. Both of the shooters outside the circle with no options. Oh. This to bring the scores back. Can't make it fall. So that will be the end of the 3rd quarter. Let's talk about our Telstra player to watch. It was Lenise Potgieter. I feel like they've been better with her on. They're making the changes towards the power 5 with a shorter 2. Do you think it's better just to continue to chip away at the score though?
I guess yes and no. I mean, with a 13-goal deficit, they need to score those 2-point shots. It's the 4th quarter now, so expect that change probably to come in the last 5, power 5, because if they're going to have any chance, they have to sink those 2-pointers.
Teague Neal. Again, straight to the circle. What a contest. Well, Wilson saw it, but she just wasn't moving the immovable Fowler. Janelle Fowler has been fantastic this game. The focal point that she is so often, and how strong on the take there. 41 from 42. Potgieter. Another one on her tally. Just 15 goals though for Lenise Potgieter. That is the difference between the two goal shooters.
She's really silenced Courtney Bruce when she has been on. Bruce only came into the game when the short shooters were on. So she's definitely made the Australian goalkeeper quiet today.
And that is half the battle, isn't it? So it's amazing to see these low scores still coming from the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Just those silly turnovers that they've been continuing to make. 20 at the moment for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Potgieter. Well, Courtney Bruce, the tip and the chase from Bayman. Well, she just managed to keep it in, tiptoe over. Williams back to McDonald. Wilson, Williams. McDonald again patient. When they're patient and they work around, they don't have any issues at all.
No, not at all, but I would have loved Elle McDonald to probably give that quicker one when she got to the circle edge. But if you're not sure, play it back, get a better look at it, work those goalers in a bit closer to post. Yes, Taylor Williams. I think it was passed to her, but she's still...
Oh, look, you take it. It still goes on the stat sheet as an intercept. Wilson, Horges, all outside the circle. Someone, Georgie Horges, needs to get in and break up that defensive unit. Not going to happen if they just allow that 2-on-1. Nice front sweep then. Rims out, no rebound. So an opportunity gone begging there for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, but she wants to correct it. Ariang, Teague Neal, Ariang again. That's how quickly the West Coast Fever can get themselves down court. Well, Adelaide Thunderbirds continue to be given opportunity.
Wing attack, obstruction. With the wing attack.
Williams, Petty, McDonald, Horges, Williams. Horges got to get herself in the circle, make some movement, not dance on the spot.
She's doing so much work out the front, but they've got feeders. Let them do the work, get in, draw that defense, sweep the baseline, sweep the top.
Very similar to what Emma Kosh was doing in that opening half. Really hard workload to do because you very rarely get the ball yourself. Courtney Bruce, well, she read that from a mile away. Emma Kosh liked it so much she took a mask off to yell out a little bit louder. Horges, Williams. See Lenise Potgieter, hand in the air, screaming at her for the pass. Then it comes in now.
She's so strong on that hold, and what she does well as a goal shooter is she waits until that ball is well and truly over her head, then lunges into the space. So goalkeepers or Courtney Bruce has no chance of getting up to it.
Goal fence, contact. Step around, with the goal fence. Yep.
Glasgow can shoot from there. Doesn't fall that time, so Adelaide Thunderbirds again with a chance to get one back to make this 10. 5 minutes away from the Power 5, and they'll really be under the pressure to sink some of those Suncorp super shots.
I think if they can get it into single digits, they're in with a shot.
I agree wholeheartedly, and they're very close to making that happen.
Taylor Williams has been a great injection. She's definitely brought that spark. She's got those fresh legs. She's driving, she's creating. Get in.
Gorgeous, I know, again. You just want to go and drag her into the goal circle, don't you? There she is, and that is a brilliant, strong take from Potgieter. It had to be under the pressure of Sunday Ariang. Well, an opportunity back to 9 here, Maddie. Williams, Horges. Needs someone to pass to. And then it's got to get inside the circle.
What a feed, Al McDonald.
Back to 9, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. So again, they've taken control. Have a look, the last 5 to the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Before we had that three-quarter time break, they'd only scored 2 out of the last 10. See that shift that you can change with that attack, and hopefully Tanya Obbs is telling Georgie, get into the circle there. Make those defenders accountable.
Oh, well, here we go. They've been handed opportunity time and time again here, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. A footwork call now against Janelle Fowler. So I'll tell you what, if the Adelaide Thunderbirds can get a score here, the centre pass to follow, well and truly back in this contest when they looked like they were dead and buried.
Expect, and there we go, I was going to say, expect Fever to call a timeout.
For no other reason than probably just to stop momentum.
Take a breather. Reassess what you're doing, because Adelaide Thunderbirds have them on the run at the moment.
Well, it is an HCF timeout. Let's get down to Dan Ryan in the West Coast Fever huddle.
Really important is take a deep breath and get back in control of what we're doing, all right? Don't play into their momentum or their energy. We control the tempo, control what we're doing, all right? We just need to make sure from a full team attacking perspective, we're willing to do the work off the ball to give clear free options to our teammate, alleviating any unnecessary pressure, all right? So lock into that work ethic. And defensively, it's a moment now where we need to do own jobs. Take full responsibility of your direct opponent, make them uncomfortable, look for opportunities against them, all right? Take the sting out of the game, relax, all right? Really important, all right? This is just, sorry mate, it's just a middle corridor moment for you.
Yeah.
Well, very clear instruction from Dan Ryan then to just take control back of this game. How do they do that though, Maddie?
Well, he asked them to do their job first and then be able to help out around. So he wants them to nullify their own opponent, shut them down, and just take that sting out of the game. He said, don't get caught up in their own energy and their momentum. Let's focus on our job and our tasks, and then we'll get that shift back and start to flow through our groove as well.
And the instruction in the other huddle would have been completely different to that, is keep this momentum, keep the pace, keep the hype. McDonald, Williams, got to keep playing there, and they've got to keep that beautiful vision open.
And it's that Georgie Hodges, she came into the circle, then she drew Sunday Ariang out. That's exactly what you want to get, that one-on-one with Pogita and Bruce in the circle.
Have a look at that last 10. What a flip from how it was in that third quarter. The last 7, the West Coast Fever. I mean, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. That's what Dan Ryan's wishes it was. 8 minutes to go in this final quarter of the game. Can the Adelaide Thunderbirds take control again? Not if they do that sort of thing.
Teague Neal sitting at the top of the Nissan net points, and Sterling not too far behind her. Oh,
Well, Sterling's got it.
pleading for it. It wasn't me.
She should have taken it with a couple of hands. It looked like she got her feet underneath the body and to the ball.
You can see the Adelaide Thunderbirds have a little bit more pep in their step. They're moving around.
Sterling, if I'm going down, you're coming, Janelle.
Good try.
Caitlin Bassett, what are you making of this last quarter?
Absolute desperation out there from players to get the ball and to retain possession. Just when Thunderbirds get the lead and seem to have control though, they throw it away. They have an opportunity now, but I wonder, do they know how to win in these big games? Because they've come so close so many times.
It is a very good point you make. This season alone, they've had 2 one-point losses in this same venue. So it is a big ask for them. And if they want to be contenders, they've got to start winning those close games, don't they? Wilson, Horges. Potgieter, the beautiful timing again. Courtney Bruce burnt.
And as we said, they're winning this quarter. They haven't so far. That That's exactly what they need to do. Put this pressure back onto Fever. Fever talk about how they can put scoreboard pressure on their opponents. They need to put that pressure back on them.
They can score here. They get it back to 7. And that is well within striking distance with the Suncorp super shot in play in just a minute's time. Horges. The swing across the circle. Frances Bayman offside.
What I'm loving about the Adelaide attack is though their timing on their leads. I think in the last couple of quarters they've been all at the same time. We've got one going, one drawing, one creating, multiple options. And they're prepared to do the work to get that nice, free, easy option.
Georgie Horges will get another crack at it here. And sinks it this time. Well, it is back to 7. 30 seconds away from Power 5.
And behind play, we see Pogita go to the bench and Dwan come on into that goal shooter position. Hopefully that momentum can continue for the Adelaide Thunderbirds in attack. And they can start to put those 2-point shots.
Well, let me ask you the same question I asked you before, because it's back to 7. Do you make that change?
Oh, so close, Latanya Wilson.
Got to get a rebound here. Well, there it is, the siren to the start of the Power 5. Ain't the difference.
Well, to answer your question, Kat, the answer is yes, because they've done it. They've brought Dwan on. Let's see how it unfolds.
Oh, I'm nervous. Well, there it is. She could have had it under the post, but she let it carry a little bit further so she can drain the Suncorp super shot. Georgie Horges. Not forgetting, Suncorp donating $100 for each Suncorp super shot to the Confident Girls Foundation. There's been a few of them fall in this game. Fowler, the safe bet, under the post. Chip away at the score, the West Coast Fever. Still 7 the difference. McDonald, while she was under pressure, she was going to step. Tipper Dwan. The big lean and the held ball. Oh, Dan Ryan likes it. Some good defensive pressure. And that's the issue. When you know you have to get the ball in that spot and shoot it, you put yourself under enormous sort of pressure.
Oh, lucky call there.
Well, the Adelaide Thunderbirds taking each other out now in the challenge, trying to win this ball back.
Sterling sitting up a little bit high, trying to fly. But they're happy to concede that 1 goal, shut down that 2-point, to give themselves any chance to bring this deficit back.
Just over 3 minutes left to play here, and the West Coast Fever taking the last 2. But there's a replay call here against Frances Bayman. Williams, McDonald, Petty plays the penalty nice and quick. Dwan, McDonald. Yeah, absolutely. Courtney Bruce just had a hand over the shoulder of Georgie Horges, but Georgie Horges right where she wants to be. Can't make them fall though, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. 2.5 minutes of play. 8 the difference. The West Coast Fever, after a loss last week, would desperately love this. This will shoot them to the top of the table.
Shamira Sterling not giving up, still having a crack at some of those high balls into the pocket.
And Wilson across court. Well, they're leaving it hanging, aren't they? The West Coast Fever. Plenty of opportunities for the Adelaide Thunderbirds defenders to have a crack at it. Janelle Fowler has been outstanding, 48 from 49, and so incredibly strong. Well, good screen there from Georgie Horges, but opens up herself. The double defense over the shot, the timing from Courtney Bruce. Well, it looked good to me, but obviously a little too close. Georgie Horges continues. Well, only just over a minute to play, though. 7 the difference. Seems like quite the challenge now for the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Fever's still playing with quite a high intensity. When you've got this 7-goal lead, yes, you want to continue to build that lead, but you do want to sometimes work the ball a little bit extra, take a bit of time off the clock.
Joe Harton style.
Yeah!
Slow it
Keep
down,
things off,
milk the
kicking
clock.
in the middle.
Yep. No one does it better than Joe Harton. Won a couple of very important games for the Giants in that manner. Dwan, well, 2 of the shorter players trying to get these long shots up over 2 of the very good over-the-shot defenders and the good rebounders from the West Coast Fever and Bruce and Ariang. 2 passes and the West Coast Fever already in their goal third. 20 seconds to go, 8 the difference. It'll be a West Coast victory, you would think. Sasha Glasgow's been solid since she came on after missing last week. Fitting that the last shot of the game will go to Janelle Fowler. Well, the Fever is rising and straight into the top of the table is where they're headed. A big win over the Adelaide Thunderbirds by 9 goals. Sadly for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, that is now their 5th loss in a row. Let's have a quick look at the stats, Maddie.
I mean, shooting accuracy was a little bit low for the Thunderbirds. I mean, penalties very high for the Fever, even though they won. But turnovers, we spoke about at halftime the Thunderbirds having 15. They definitely reined it in. So if they could be a bit more disciplined in those first 3 quarters, it would have been interesting to see whether that deficit or that margin would have been a lot closer. Not a lot to take away out of it, but those Nissan net points obviously sitting very, very high for the Fever compared to the Thunderbirds.
Well, the big question, what does that do to the ladder now? We've spoken about the West Coast Fever going north, and there they are sitting at the top.
I mean, really, really strong. They've now got a few games at home. They're going to be super, super hard to beat over there. Adelaide Thunderbirds, is this towards the end of it? Like, is their season done? Can they get back up to that top? Obviously, there's not much between 4th and 5th, so if they could run through a few wins together, they can get themselves up there, but they've got a hard run.